Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
Hey, Cold Coffee Club. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to dig into the concept that is near and dear to me, and it is called JOMO. It is the joy of missing out. I know that so many of us struggle with FOMO, the fear of missing out, and I think that was something that was very prevalent, at least in my life, in my 20s. But now that I'm in my 30s and life is just different, I kind of take joy in being able to say, yeah, I'm not going to make this one, and being completely okay with that. So I'm going to be joined with Tiffany Harris today and Elizabeth Baker, our Houston Moms editor, and we are going to talk about, are we okay with missing out these days? And what does that look like? What does that look like for the people around us being so okay with just saying, yeah, I'm not going to make this birthday party. I'm not going to make this event. So we're going to dig into that. But before we do, of course, let's spill some tea. So this week, I only have a win. I'm super excited to announce that after Jenny left the Cold Coffee Club, we miss her so much. And the podcast has changed a little bit since she left. I've gotten the opportunity to get to know so many of our Houston Moms contributors, have them join me as guest co-hosts. And it has been a lot of fun doing that. And it's given me the opportunity to narrow down two Houston Moms contributors who I think really have a knack for this. They seem to really enjoy it. And it seems like, just based on the numbers, a lot of you, our audience, are really enjoying them being on as well. So I am happy to announce that Tiffany Harris and Griff are going to be consistent co-hosts with me. It might not always be all three of us chatting. It might just be me and one of them, but the occasions that the three of us get to sit down and talk, they're going to be awesome. And so I'm so excited to have their voices joining the Cold Coffee Club consistently and sharing their perspectives. I think it'll just kind of give us a little bit of a mixture of voices and perspectives. And I'm so excited to dig into all of our topics that we have coming up with the Cold Coffee Club with the two of them. So super excited to have them joining. And also, I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to explore some new segments in the podcast. We have Cream and Sugar, we have Houston Moms House Blends, we have our tea. And I figured maybe exploring some new topics or new segments would be really fun for all of us. So I'm going to introduce Java Jams, and that's where we're going to just share a song that has been on repeat or that we've been just loving that week and that has really hit home for us for one reason or another, whether it's like an emotional thing or it's like nostalgia or, oh, my kids are listening to this and now it's stuck in my head. We're going to share our Java Jams. And then also caffeinated confessions. I want to incorporate just ways for our audience to get to know us a little bit better and sharing some embarrassing mommy moments. I mean, what better ways to connect to us? So caffeinated confessions are on their way. We also wanted to start exploring the coffee corner, and that is just an opportunity for us to answer any of your questions or explore any comments that we might be receiving from our listeners. So please, we encourage you, please, message us, hit us up on social media, anything like that. If there's something you want to know from us, or if there's a topic you want us to explore, we can discuss that in the coffee corner. So I think these new little segments are going to be fun, and we're open to any suggestions. I think it's worth exploring. You get into a podcast. We are now on season 5. I still can't believe that. But it's easy to just get in the routine, and I don't want to say rut because that's not where we are, but get into the routine. And so it's always exciting to invite something new, invite some new segments, invite some new co-hosts. just to change things up a little bit. So those are my wins. I'm super pumped about these changes coming up for the Cold Coffee Club, and I hope you are too. All right, so for my cream and sugar this week, I have two shows that I'm really, really into. So number one, so season 9 of Masterchef Junior is now out. There are a few episodes already out on Hulu. And so my kids and I are trying to pace ourselves because we love Masterchef Junior. I love watching children being creative in these ways that it's just blows my mind. And it is encouraging my children to want to cook, which it's a double-edged sword. Like, I love that they want to cook, but also we tend to be on a time crunch between extracurriculars and life in general. And so when they want to help cook, it's always like Tuesday evening where it's like, this is not the time for you to help me cook. Okay. Oh gosh. So I'm trying really hard to incorporate them in the kitchen on weekends when we have all the time, or nights that we don't have sports, which is, most nights we have sports. But so watching MasterChef Junior is definitely encouraging them to explore cooking, explore what do I know how to make for myself and what tastes good, what combination works. And so I love MasterChef Junior. Season 9, we are all the way in. It also, this season features Chef Gordon Ramsay's daughter, Tilly, which is really fun because my kids think it's really interesting. Oh, that's her dad. And she's working with her dad and they have this really cute relationship and it's fun to watch. And so I like that my kids are seeing, parents working with their children and their dynamic. It's really interesting. And I'm loving it. Also on Netflix, Baby Reindeer. So I'm only one episode in and I'm like, yep, based on everything I've seen and heard about this show, I'm in. I'm watching all of it. So that's my show right now, and it's wild. It's I've heard a lot of good things, and I don't want to spoil anything. And again, I'm only one episode in, but I know enough about myself to know I cannot not finish this series. So, Baby Reindeer on Netflix. All right, let's jump into our topic about JOMO. Again, it's the joy of missing out. I think I'm finding a little bit of pleasure in being okay with just saying, yeah, I'm going to miss this thing. Sorry, not sorry. So first, I'm going to play my chat with Elizabeth Baker, and she kind of presents one perspective. And then we'll jump into my chat with Tiffany Harris, and she and I have a more similar perspective. And I think it's really important to see both. So Elizabeth has her, unique circumstances as to why it's not always a joy to miss out. But, she and I are going to chat about that. And then we'll jump into my chat with Tiffany. All right, here we go.
Okay, Cold Coffee Club. I came up with the term JOMO because I, for a long time, suffered from FOMO. I had the biggest fear of missing out. I had to be there for all the events, all the things. I wanted to be in all the memories. I needed that. And then more recently, I realized I have JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. I am so excited to just be like, yeah, no, I'm not coming. So I tapped Elizabeth Baker to join me and talk about this because I feel like you and I are on the same page. We're just not doing all the things anymore. So before we jump into that, I'm going to let Elizabeth tell us a little bit about herself.
Hey, y'all. My name's Elizabeth. I have been with Houston Moms since 2016 and been the managing editor since 2017. I live in Katy. I have 3 kids. Grayson is 13, Charlotte is 11, and Nolan is 8. So yeah, this is a really good topic for me because we are right in the thick of the elementary and junior high years, and life is crazy, and there's just not time to do all the things. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So yeah, like you said, life is crazy busy and you really have to find that line of what am I going to tack on to my plate? I can't do everything. I will make time for some things. So for you, what are some events that you are totally fine with missing out on?
Right. I guess for me, I look at it as I prioritize the relationships that are most important to me. And so I was actually having brunch with two of my best friends this morning and telling them I was going to do this and saying, you know, like I can think of probably 15 to 20 people off the top of my head that I would love to have brunch with. But there's just not time. And so, you know, I have my close circle that I prioritize. So anytime, you know, certain people ask me, you know, do you want to do lunch, brunch, whatever? I was like, yes, let's sit down and get a date on the calendar. But, you know, there's those people like, oh, yeah, we should get together sometime. And if it happens, great. I will try to make time, but I'm not going to make it a priority. You know, some of the things that I don't compromise on, I'm in a book club that is absolutely life-giving. We meet once a month. We decide on the date, the previous date. I put it on the calendar and, you know, barring some sort of disaster or emergency, I'm going to be there at book club. My daughter plays softball and I'm the assistant coach, and that is a ton of time. But we both love it and we prioritize that. And of course, you know, anything that comes up with the family, kids, I try my best not to miss certain things. But beyond that, I just try to be, I guess it's for me, it's not necessarily a joy of missing out. There are definitely things that I get disappointed that I have to miss, but it's more of a acceptance. And I guess as I get older, a maturity of saying, this is what I'm prioritizing, and the rest I have to be okay with missing. And that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed as I am getting older that I'm just like, there's not enough hours in the day to begin with. And so it's like, you've got all these responsibilities, all these things. And, you know, someone will call you and like, do you want to go have drinks? And I'm just like, yeah, but the amount of energy it would take to get up and go, I'm not there.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was first divorced, there was a time where I really had to sit down and have a conversation with myself because I was going to events that started at 10:30. Ended at like 3. And I was like, who is this person? Why are we doing this? And I felt this need to be part of it. I'm done with that.
Not anymore. Yeah. And for me, like just me personally, like I really prioritize my sleep. I'm definitely a morning person, not a night person. And so like for me to stay out past like about 8:30 or 9, it has to be something that really is bringing me joy.
Right.
And not just some kind of thing that, yeah, maybe it's fun, but I need my sleep and
right.
I need to go to bed. So.
For sure. And I know that, you know, we both have 3 kids and that comes with a whole lot. And you have an oldest child who requires a lot more from you. And I can't imagine, you know, the frivolous things of like, well, we're having girls' night, come out with us. Like with everything on your plate, just with Grayson, I can't even imagine like having to prioritize that kind of thing like in your schedule. It's a lot.
Yeah. And for Grayson, for the listeners that don't know, Grayson has profound special needs. We do have a nurse that is with us 5 nights a week and then 1 day. So we get a lot of help, but on the times that we don't have a nurse, it's not like I can call up a 16-year-old babysitter to come over. So I have to, you know, we only have certain people that can come sit with them and it's expensive and if they're available. So yeah, for sure. Raising a kid with additional needs for anyone, any kind of additional needs, you know, kind of puts things in perspective and we do. I mean, we miss out a lot. And my other 2 kids, they miss out on a lot. And so we try to do things that we can do at home or things that we can do outside of the home that are accommodating to our son. And a lot of times that means dividing and conquering me and my husband. We don't do a lot of things, the 5 of us together. And, you know, it's disappointing and there's a lot of, you know, some sadness and grief there, but, you know, it's okay. We make it work.
Yeah. I know with my schedule, with my boys being with me 1 week on, 1 week off, I have no problem saying I can't make it on the week that I have my kids. I can't be there because I also have that other week to myself where it's like, okay, I can prioritize being social then, but if your calendar doesn't align with my calendar, well, that's okay. And that's fine. And I think as you get older, you become more okay with I'm just going to have to say no this time. I'm going to have to say no. And I look back in my 20s and I'm like, there was no. It was just like, yeah, I'll be there. I have a paper to write. I have this going on. Yeah, I'll come, and then I'll crunch that out really quick. I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
Too much. It's too
much. No desire
much.
to do that.
Not at all. And I really wish more people just in general would prioritize, like, hey, you've got so much going on. You work and you've got responsibilities at home and you've got kids and you've got all these things. It's okay to miss out on certain things. Yes, we all have that like need to be social and to have some fun, let loose, those kinds of things. But remembering that you are a person who can only do so much. And I think a lot of people overlook that. They're like, yeah, but life is short and I need to, what is the term the kids used to say? YOLO. Like, okay, well, yeah, that's cool. But like, you only live once and you're exhausted all the time. Like, how does that work for you?
Find, and the more that you have on the calendar, the more anxiety you're going to have and about, either missing something or forgetting something. Mm-hmm. And, if I go out the night, like on a Thursday night and stay out late, Friday morning, my kids might suffer because I'm grumpy and I'm, having a hard time rallying for them. So,
definitely.
And not that you should do everything, not that you should lose yourself for your kids, but, they are little human beings that feed off your emotions. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I want to be the best version of myself for them when at all possible.
Yeah, I think it's really important that people remember to give each other some grace because if someone's going to miss like your birthday or, I had a friend who was a distant friend, we were not close, but she was very annoyed with me that I was missing her wedding. And there was a part of me that was like, it's just not feasible. Like it was out of state. It was like, what? Like I have to drop everything to come to your wedding. Yes, I love, and I'm so excited for you, but can you try to understand that I can't make that? I can't afford a plane ticket right now. I can't do this. And there was a part of me that was like, yeah, I really don't want to. If I was being completely honest, I really did not want to. So yeah, just kind of reminder to everybody, like we've all got stuff on our plates. We've all got stuff going on. It is impossible to show up for all the things. So, when I thought about this episode, I really started to notice that I had a little bit of joy in saying, I can't make this. Like there was a part of me that was like, I'm so happy to be at this stage where I am completely cool with being like, yeah, no, not happening. Mm-hmm. If it were, when you and I last got together, we took our kids out to lunch and like, there was no way I was missing that. I was like, first of all, what was the place called again? Shoot.
Clay's.
Yes, Clay's. And I was like, there's no way I'm missing this because my kids can go play. I can hang out and talk. Like it was the best of both worlds. It was absolutely perfect. And I got to meet your kids for the first time, which was super exciting. So yeah, there was no way I was missing that. And that I literally would have had FOMO if I was like, oh no, I can't go.
Right.
I would have been so bummed. But like finding that balance of things that can fit in my schedule, things that can benefit my family, like my kids get to play with your kids. Awesome. So exciting. And then also, is it going to bring me some joy? Yep. Cool. I'm in.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. We should do that again. That would be fun.
Yes, please. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining in with me. And I hope this encourages some other moms to take some joy in saying like, not today. I can try a different time. I can squeeze you in. Find that little bit of joy if you can in missing out, because sometimes it's kind of rewarding just being able to say no. So I hope this is a great reminder for some moms. So awesome. Thank you. Get to hear Tiffany's perspective on JOMO, my new favorite acronym, the joy of missing out. We heard from Elizabeth and she expressed some sort of joys, but part of her experience is a little bit tougher because of everything she's got on her plate. It's not really joy for her. She kind of feels like she's missing out on some things just because life and it's hectic and busy, and she wishes she could be more so a part of things. But Tiffany, I think you might have a little bit of a different perspective, so that's why I wanted to have you join us as well. So what does JOMO look like for you?
Yeah, so I will say that JOMO started for me, and it's so funny that the phrase has been coined because when I got pregnant, so again, for the audience, I am a mom of twins. And so when I got pregnant, I was kind of a miserable pregnant person and not wanting to do a lot kind of pregnant person. And I happened to also be pregnant with twins over the summer.
Ooh.
And so I was not loving that experience, and for a whole host of reasons. That's like a whole nother show. But that's when JOMO really started to kick in for me, right? Because there wasn't a whole lot I could do about my circumstances, obviously. And there wasn't a whole lot I could do about feeling uncomfortable or missing out on things just in general. And then when you have twins, or when you have kids in general, but particularly when you have twins, there's just not a lot of energy and opportunity to do things and want to do things more importantly. For the first, year and a half, 2 years, I breastfed. So, there's all those logistics. So literally, I remember I did one time go out with a friend, but this was kind of the joy of missing out, but doing it with a friend is that when you have other mom friends, then you guys know how to plan things together. So you're like, hey, I can stay for this long. One friend was comfortable pumping, out in public. I did not have that experience. So I was like, hey, I have like an hour, I have 2 hours. Whereas, in the past, I would have, we could have come and stayed for however long we wanted to. And she understood. And then the other women kind of around us, adapted to our circumstances.
Yeah.
And I really, so that's one perspective of, how you kind of miss out, but you don't miss out, because you do some of the things, but you just don't do it for as long. And now currently, I'm just older. Like, I just, I don't always feel the need to be out all the time. My husband and I do things together, but we're, we've seen the shows, we've gone to the concerts, we've, one of the things that I don't know that I'm ever going to like fully return to doing, not that I did it a lot before. And I was thinking about this over the weekend, because it's starting to become that summertime, is summer concerts, or not summer concerts, but summer festivals, like where you go to Miami or you go to Philadelphia. I've never been to those events. I don't know that I'm going to, and I'm okay with it. Yeah. Because my time is kind of passed with that. I mean, I suppose there is a reason I could. I don't really like crowds like that. And then, there's just, there's kind of somewhat of a level of uncertainty for me in certain things too. It's like you're in a really crowded place. What if something happens? You just, I don't feel like I just need to be doing that kind of thing all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was sharing with Elizabeth that I had to really reevaluate myself a little bit, because I was getting dressed to go to events that started at 10 p.m. and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, girl, let it go. There was another time where I wanted to go to an after party. I didn't want to go to the actual event, but I wanted to go to the after party. I went to bed like at 7:30 p.m., got up at 2:30, 3 in the morning to get dressed to go to this. This was back in my FOMO phase. Now, granted, I had just gotten divorced and I was like, I just need to get back in the world. But I was like, really? I'm getting dressed at 2:30 in the morning? What are we doing? I really had to sit myself down after that. Be like, what did we need to do that? You could have let that go.
You said you had a good time.
I did have a good time, but it was so, and then I was exhausted the next day and I was miserable. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm past this stage. And yes, I absolutely was. And I had to pay for it for about a week after. Yeah. It's like, you could have just missed out. You could have just been like, you know what, I'm not going. And I'm realizing also my JOMO is also attached to social media. I remember when I was constantly checking social media, I constantly wanted to be tagged in all the pictures. I was there. Everybody, look, I was there. I am so glad that phase is gone. I'm like, I'm fine if I'm not tagged. I'm fine if I missed an event on social media and I didn't see that it was happening or anything like that. It's so it's just, it feels really light now that I just don't have to be part of everything. I'm okay with like my little bubble and my groups of friends and just being home. I'm okay with that. Now, there are certain things where I'm like, I cannot wait to go do whatever. But other than that, I don't have to say yes to everything. If it's going to be insanely inconvenient for me to try to, okay, well, my babysitter's not available. Let me call so-and-so and let me see who can. If I have to go through all that trouble to come to some event, I'm probably not going to go, and I'm going to be okay with it.
Well, and the other thing is that I wonder, I'm one of those people that's like constantly like rethinking and reevaluating. And, I said on a previous episode, like, trying on these new personalities and trying to see what fits. And, particularly after parenthood, and even now, I consider like, hey, maybe you don't need to be doing those things. So maybe you can do the joy of missing out on the things that you've done and try to experience some new things that you haven't tried out. Because, again, the whole point is that we're evolving, and if you've done all the things, then why do you need to keep doing those things? Because like you said, it took you a week to recover, or maybe you could have gotten that sort of same thrill and experience just doing something else that's off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm really trying to think about and experience and explore. But the challenge is that because you've missed out on so much, you're like, oh, does that mean heels? Does that mean makeup?
Right.
Does that mean hair?
Oh my gosh. I really had to assess whether or not I wanted to go to something based on the kind of shoes I was probably going to need to wear to like be a pro. And I was like, I don't want to.
I don't want to. I look at the shoe, like I do. I'm like, well, this is going to sound silly, but I remember when I first moved to Houston, another friend of mine, another woman moved to Houston, and she was like, she's like, Houston really has some beautiful women. And not to think that I don't think that I'm attractive or anything like that, but I do consider like how pretty are the people going to be when I, to something I'm going to be, because maybe I just don't either feel that way. I don't, and it's not that it's a competition, but maybe it is. Like, if I'm just being honest, maybe it feels kind of competitive in that sense. And I just don't feel like putting in that extra energy. Because that's not me anymore. So, whereas in the past, when I was in my 30s, when I first moved here, so I was in my 30s when I moved here, and I was real cute. I mean, I felt it anyway.
Girl, you're still cute. Stop it.
I'm still cute. I just feel like I'm cute in a different way. Like, I feel like I have mom kind of written all over my face sometimes. And I just, so I'm always like, so there is that kind of thing, like, it's the joy of missing out, and not in a negative way. It's not like, oh, I feel frumpy. It's like, no, you have to put in work to show up and be in this crowd, right?
That's fair. I hadn't thought of that. That's very fair. And you have to protect your psyche and your because after I got divorced, I started hanging out with some friends who were younger and didn't have kids, and to be honest, they had paid to have work done, and we would go, they're like, you want to go to a pool party? And I would think about that, like, listen, I love the skin I'm in, but do I necessarily want to be in a crowd of a bunch of 20-somethings who have lifted and filled up and all the things? And am I going to feel good about, and it's not competition, but it's also like, am I going to feel good about myself in this? It's normal, and I think that's fair to like protect yourself.
I feel kind of silly saying it, but you're right. Yeah,
that's
thank you for validating that.
Of course, that is 100% fair, because it, again, literally not competition, but like, am I going to feel like my best self in this environment? Yeah, I can love myself, sure, but do I want to be prancing around in a swimsuit with y'all?
Yeah, it's like,
I don't want to. I
don't think I want to. And I don't even feel like, and that's the other thing, is like, you don't want to go into places where you feel like I could have just stayed home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be in places where I'm going to feel like, oh, you don't even see me. Like, I'm not even in this.
Yeah.
And it's not even that other people are thinking, why did she show up? I'm thinking it. Right. I'm projecting on the entire situation, regretting that I did it. And it was just as easy to just say, no, that's not for me.
Yep.
So
You have got to protect your energy. I love it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And you have to protect your energy. So yeah, I do things that are fun, but I do want to try new things. And and honestly, a lot of that is with my husband. Sometimes it's with new friends. And sometimes it's just like watching a new program, or there's areas of the house that probably are upset that I've had so much joy of missing out with them. I need to clean.
You're like, hey, come see me.
Hey, do you remember me? I'm messy.
Yep. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think there's so much to be said about finding a little bit of joy and missing out, and kind of showing our kids we don't have to be there for everything, especially when it's going to wear us out. It's going to not be fun for us. Yeah, it's, my kids have noticed recently, like there are we have to pick and choose. There's only so much time, and I'm not in that stage anymore where I'm going to stretch myself completely thin. I'm just not going to do that. And so if we have to pick one birthday party, if we have to pick one event, we're going to do that. And we're going to miss the other one, and we're going to be okay. It's fine. Okay. We'll send our love, and cool. We're fine.
Well, and the funniest thing, and I realize this is where your kids teach you about yourself. Like they teach you, like they've got it figured out when you don't sometimes, is, I thought because I was that fear of missing out kind of person growing up, I always wanted to be invited to the thing, and I felt kind of bad when I wasn't. So my daughter is in dance, and her dance instructor had some summer sessions, and one of them was a Friday evening. It started like 6:30 or 7, and wasn't going to end until 9:30. My daughter and I brought it up to her. She doesn't have to participate if she doesn't want to. So I told her about it, and she was like, "Ooh." She said, "Well, when does that end?" I said, "Oh, it'll probably end, 8:30 or so, 9 maybe." She was like, "Oh." It's like, well, that's going to be really late, and I think I'm going to be sleepy. So no, I don't want to go. And I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah.
For her.
I feel like I'm going to be too sleepy when I'm there. So no, I don't want to go. And so when her teacher asked me about it, I said, yeah, no, she's not going. I said, she'll go to the day one, the Saturday afternoon one, but she does not want to go to the Friday evening one. And I was so amazed that she had that much awareness. Yeah. And this is at 6, right? Yes, this is at 6, where she knew, like, on a Friday evening, like, no, I'm gonna be sleepy.
Yep. Good for her.
I can miss that.
The kids will teach you so many things. It is amazing. And it's like, wasn't that my job to teach you? And they're like, no, I've got it. My kids have done the same thing. They realized, my oldest kid realized that someone was having a birthday party, did not invite everybody. He was not invited. And he mentioned it. And I was mentally preparing like, ooh, he's going to be upset. And he's like, I'm not, it's fine. If they don't want to invite me, they're missing out on hanging out with me. And I'm like, I love you so much. And I needed that, because he didn't even know that there was a mom event with like a bunch of moms that I was friendly with. We lived on the same street. They all got together for a Galentine's Day event, did not invite me, and I was all in my feelings. I had so many feelings, and I just was crushed. And then when he said that, it was probably 3 days after this had happened, but I was still kind of hurt. I was like, I thought we were closer than that. And when he said that, I was just like, y'all missed out on hanging out with me.
That's right.
That's your problem, not mine. And I realized, like, hey, but that also opened up my calendar, because when they did it, there was something else that I did really want to do. I got to go do that. And I'm like, okay, well, why should I be sad that I missed out on that? Why should I be sad?
That's what I say. You just have to listen to your kids.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I feel like, kids do create different boundaries for people for a variety of reasons. But I feel, this is why I say my kids have never stopped me from doing anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right. They have given me perspective on it. They have, it has informed my level of planning that I have to do around it, for sure. but it also helps to organize my priorities in those situations. Because like you said, if you have to do all these hoops and tricks with trying to find somebody to watch them, you have to ask yourself, is it even worth it? And I can tell you, I won't tell you the artist, but I remember when my kids were young, like babies, and we went to this concert, and the concert started so late. So it was a venue that, historically started, the shows would start late, but then the artist was so trash. Oh, I was so upset. And thankfully a cousin was watching the kids, so I didn't have to pay her. I was just, I was like, I told my husband, I said, can you imagine if we would have had to pay for somebody for this crap? I would have been up the wall. Like, it was so late, and then he was so terrible.
Oh no.
And so that was probably one of my first times. I was like, oh yeah, never, nope. Yep. Okay, we have to be more selective. And I literally probably have not been to that event or to that venue again, because I was like, they just don't respect your time. They don't respect your time. Everybody starts late. This is not an accidental thing. We've seen like 10 people here. All shows start late, an hour or more late. I'm not doing it again.
Yep.
So yeah, you start to get real crystal clear. I think as you get older, as you start to value your time, you gotta value your finances too, because how much more are you trying to pay a babysitter just for another venue's inability to prioritize your time? So
Yep. Sometimes, moral of the story, sometimes it's just okay to miss out. It is.
Yes.
Okay.
It is. 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this. I knew that you would be able to relate to the JOMO idea, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ashley.
Awesome.
All right. I love talking with both of those ladies, and I love that we have this platform of a podcast where we get to share these things. So, like I said, for me, there's a joy in missing out, and I can appreciate that I can step back and say, I can't fit this on my plate, and I'm okay with that. Either way, whether you're more of a FOMO person or a JOMO person, like, find what works for you and do what works for you. Do what makes you happy. If you enjoy living in that, I don't want to miss anything, and you only live once and all that, do you. I love that for you. I am very much on the JOMO bandwagon. All right, let's move along to our Houston Moms House Blend. This week is Cinco de Mayo on Sunday, and there are a ton of events going on here in Houston. I'm looking at everything that's kind of just slated to happen this weekend, and I'm like, I want to do a few of these. Like, there's so many things, and I love that about Houston. I love that about our city in general. And it's just, I'm so pumped for it. And so thank goodness Elizabeth Baker took the time to compile everything that is out there for you to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. And her post is just called Cinco de Mayo in Houston, Let's Fiesta. And she incorporates all kinds of fun, family-friendly activities, some things for kind of a girls' night out kind of approach, grab some margaritas and queso and enjoy yourself. There's a ton to do, and definitely check out this post. So I found an interesting set of statistics regarding FOMO, and these kinds of numbers inspired me to be really okay with JOMO. So for starters, 45% of people who experience FOMO can't go longer than 12 hours without checking social media. That's wild. Like, I get it, but like, seeing that made me realize I want to be more intentional about missing out. I feel like FOMO or JOMO is not just about missing out on something like an activity or an event. It is about like, I need to see what's happening with so-and-so. I need to check my Instagram. What's going on there? It's wild to me that like we've become these people where we can't even stop ourselves from checking social media. I have had to intentionally remove Facebook and Instagram from my like homepage on my phone because I was checking it so much. And it's, I'm trying to dial back the FOMO a little bit. Another statistic says that 69% of millennials also say that they worry about missing out on events if they don't check their social media. So they don't see the invite and they're worried that, they're going to miss out. And then another one, 37% of social media users say they have purchased the social media because of FOMO. And I can relate to that. I don't use Twitter or X, but I have it because everyone's on it. Or even the new Instagram thing, the Threads. I find myself, I downloaded it and I don't post on it, but like I like to kind of see what's going on. And I think it's worth exploring for all of us, figuring out what effects FOMO are having on us, and when we can find those opportunities to embrace the JOMO and find that joy in missing out on just a few things, because it gets to be so much. It's so much to have in our minds, so much to be thinking about and worried about outside of ourselves. And so maybe finding that happy balance between FOMO and JOMO is what we all really need. So it's worth the effort. Thanks so much for joining another episode of the Cold Coffee Club. Please like, subscribe, share. If you found a topic that you feel like another mom needs to hear, please send it on over to her and give her, rave reviews, please. And be sure to join us in the next couple weeks. We are bringing on our co-hosts, and I'm so excited to have them just with me consistently. So I'm loving what's happening with the podcast. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support and your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.